Everybody's jacked up for this 2024 wide receiver class because it's deep with talent. We got generational prospects. 2 at the top, tons of talent in the first round. The second round is going to be jacked up with talent. And then we're going to see wide receivers getting drafted all the way down the draft board that we're going to like. But today, we're going to be looking at one of the most polarizing wide receivers in the 2024 wide receiver class. We're going to be looking at Troy Franklin from Oregon. We're going to talk about his tape. We're going to talk about his draft value. We're going to talk about Dynasty Fantasy Football. Before we do all that, you need to click that subscribe button because we're going to be talking about NFL Draft. We're going to be talking about these wide receivers every single day this offseason to help you with your rookie drafts, to help you know more about the NFL Draft and everything else. Click that button. Stop missing out. But we got to backtrack to his high school days, to when he was a recruit, because we got to know this information. He's a 4-star prospect, ranked as the 3rd best wide receiver in his class in 2021. Had the link there listed at 6'2", 170 pounds. But what I like to look at is the offers, and the reason why it gives me an indication of what the college football market was about. When you see a prospect get over 20 offers listed over on 24/7 Sports, that lets you know the market was hot for that prospect. He received 24 offers, and then you just look casually to the side over here. You're seeing some top-tier Power 5 schools. That's letting us know college football wanted Troy Franklin. Numerous schools wanted him on their team. He was a hot prospect. I like looking at the offers more than the star ratings, more than the rankings, because it really lets us know what college football thinks of that prospect. Alabama's after him, Auburn's after him, Oregon got him. Top tier prospect. Looking at the counting stats real quick, 1,300 yards in 2023, 14 touchdowns. Really cemented himself in 2023. Became a buzzworthy name in 2022 with 891 yards and 9 touchdowns, catching 61 balls. Very productive as well. All in all, just taking a quick viewpoint or a quick snapshot of these numbers, you're saying he had a good career, really went gangbusters in 2023 during his junior season, his 3rd year, catching 81 balls, 1,300 yards. Those are good numbers. 14 touchdowns. I like that. I like that we have a top-tier season here. 891 yards. We're not hitting 1,000 there his sophomore year, but still good enough to get the job done with 9 touchdowns. And we're just talking counting stats because we're going to move forward, look at the game logs here. This is all his games with 50 yards or more, and we're seeing him produce against good competition, against Washington, USC, Washington State, UCLA, Power 5 schools. We don't have all the jabroni schools up there like a Portland State. So against Washington in 2023, 154 yards, a touchdown on 8 balls caught. Went off against USC here in 2023, 147 yards, 1 touchdown on 2 catches because he can be explosive. He gets behind the defense. We're going to talk about the tape. Can't show you the tape due to YouTube, but we're going to talk about the tape. Catching 5 balls, 139 yards, and 1 touchdown against Washington in 2022. We can dominate games. We have multiple games. We have, 10 of them it looks like there, of 100 yards or more. And that's a lot compared to some of the other wide receivers we've already looked at in this series. And he's also able to score multi-touchdown games. Something good to look at. But the market share is there. Broke out at age 19. Pushing a 25% market share, and then increased on that, pushing a 30% market share at age 20 during his junior season. That's good to see. An age 19 breakout age for a wide receiver who's going to get draft capital. He's going to be drafted within the top 60 of the NFL draft. Might flirt with the first round. That being said is a good indicator because a breakout age at age 18, age 19, if you're using a 20% threshold, if you're using 25, he's close enough. Is a good indicator that he's got the prerequisite of a guy that can be highly fantasy relevant. Doesn't mean he will, but it is a good prerequisite of that, meaning that the odds are more in his favor that he can give you wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1 results. That being said, we got a prospect here that's hitting on the numbers, and also yards per team pass attempt. We got up there on his career. Age 19 looking good. Age 20 got even better. and everything's looking solid on his career. We're pushing things forward, being efficient. What I like is the yards per route ran here in 2023, 3.32. So we're exceeding that 2.5 number. We're hitting that. 2022, 2.34. Solid in back-to-back seasons. And that's on a good average depth of target here every year. 13.9 in 2021, 12.3 in 2022, 12.8 in 2023. And that mirrors the tape because we're seeing him get behind the defense a lot, catching balls downfield. The yak's going to be a little bit lower, and if someone wants to complain about that number, you have to realize when you get a deeper average depth of target, you're getting lesser opportunities to get yak on screen plays, shorter plays. He does get opportunities on those shorter routes, runs a lot of speed routes, we run the curl immaculately well, but we're getting deep behind the defense a lot on fades and posts. We're seeing that right here with the ADOT, the average depth of target, and we're also seeing some explosiveness off the release, but we're going to talk about that some more here down the line. But looking at some more PFF numbers here, look at the grades here of targets 20 plus yards. Doesn't matter where we're at on the field. We're getting graded above the 90s. We're getting a lot of targets on the left side of 20 plus yards of 11, catching 6 of those 11 balls, 266 yards, 3 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns down the middle, catching 6 of 8 in the middle of the field from 10 to 20 yards. We're in the 90s. On the right side, we're at 87, but we have a sample size of just 6 targets. Bo Nix does not like his right side. He just doesn't, it seems like. But 10 of 16 down the middle, 7 of 11 to the left, and the numbers are a little bit different here when we get closer to the line of scrimmage. Here, when you note, we're running more speed outs, we're running more curls, maybe some drags here and there on the tape, but still, these are more of your contested catch plays. We'll talk about that more here in a little bit, but 79.8 grade on the left side, 6 of 6 on the targets, 2 for 2 on the targets here in the middle behind the line of scrimmage, 0 to 10 yards, 5 of 7, 23 to 32, that's a lot of drags over the middle, and 7 of 7 on the right side. Looking good. His strengths, and one thing I want to point out, and I got a lot here looking at the tape, is his release package. He has a good release package. He wins on multiple different ways, but he's very sudden off the step, and he sets you up with that. He also sets you up to get downfield. That release off the line of scrimmage allows him to get downfield, allows him to beat that coverage, allows him to get behind those safeties, because before you know it, he's in your back pocket. Before you know it, he's downfield because he's so quick, he's so sudden, and then he also varies his package with different movements, different cell tactics, looking in and fading out, all different things. It's varied. Another thing I want to talk about here, and it screams on the tape, I haven't seen anybody talk about it. I just haven't, but he attacks blind spots very well. And the thing about attacking blind spots, you have to look for it on tape when you're watching wide receivers because you may not find that. But when that DB has the back turned to him, when he flips that hip and he notices it, he's going to attack that every single time. He's going to get behind that DB, maybe break off the route, maybe not. But that DB has to flip around to get back to him, and that usually causes some drifting off the break of the DB, allowing him to create separation. He's a very smart wide receiver. He reads zone very well. He gets in the right spot there. He knows where to break off that route to be open. And then Bo Nix, I'm going to say it on the next one, that he's very off and on. But when Bo Nix is on, he can read the zone plays with him very well. He's good after the catch. He can be because he can get that speed and he's got that burst after the catch off the steps. Gets behind the defense very well, and that stems from the release package. That release package is very nice. Also stems with how he breaks off routes, but he's good at getting behind the defense. He can be sudden off the break, not the most sudden wide receiver, but really it's his cell tactics, his ability to set up that defensive back, and he's very good on comeback routes, curl routes, sets those up with his ability to get downfield, beat the defense, and then later on in the game, he's beating you on comeback routes, and he kills it on the speed outs as well. Also has a tremendous vertical game. His weaknesses is at the catch point. Not super strong there. You can get into his basket. You can disrupt things. Ball tracking is there. It is good, but not 100%. He's not an artist where he's going to climb the ladder and bring it down, but he can track the ball over his shoulder, get downfield. He can definitely do that, but in a different type of way as an over-the-shoulder catch artist. But downfield, he's not going to win at the catch point, being more physical than the DB, out-jumping the DB, but he's going to get there, catch the ball over his shoulders, being smart, using his hands. He does have very strong hands, catching it away from his body, but he's not a twitched up wide receiver when it comes to breaking off routes. He will create separation. He's very good at that, but he's very tactical. He's not going to do it being uberly quick, moving laterally. He's going to set you up with the cell tactic. He's going to move one way. He's going to attack your blind spot. He's going to create that separation, but he's not going to do it being overly sudden, being overly twitched up. He is a very sudden route runner, so that can confuse somebody watching tape, but he does create separation just with cerebralness and an ability to attack blind spots, burst off the line of scrimmage. Bo Nix is very on and off. There are some games he's lights out. He's got a good rapport with him, but there's some games where he's off. He's overthrowing him. He's off on his throws to Franklin, and I really wanted to note that because sometimes when you're looking at a quarterback, the traits kind of pop more for that quarterback when you're watching the wide receiver, and that came out to me with Bo Nix. He can be on. He can be a tremendous quarterback with good anticipation. He can be a horrible quarterback when it comes to anticipation as well. I just wanted to throw that out there. But looking at his draft grade from NFL.com, 6.40, will become a starter within 2 years. That means could be week 2, could be in 2026, somewhere in that time, could be an NFL starter. I agree with that. I don't see him as a generational talent per se, but I do see him as a talent that he's very nuanced. He can set things up. We got speed. We got a good release package. I look for him to develop well, to transition quickly to the NFL level. 2 years is a kind of a long time. I would say within year 1 or halfway into year 2, somewhere around that range. I wouldn't be surprised during his rookie season, depending on landing spot, that he could be fantasy relevant. I wouldn't be surprised. I also wouldn't be surprised if we got a little bit of a ramp-up period before that happens. They got him compared to Chris Olave. And the thing about that, different players, different sizes. We'll know more about his size come the combine. Usually their listed size is a lot different from what we see at the combine, but we shall see. So I'm not really going to talk on that. But his game, getting downfield, winning downfield, being twitchy downfield, being able to win with cerebralness, I can see that. Chris Olave is a little bit more twitched up, moving laterally, breaking off his routes. But winning downfield, getting a good ADOT, getting behind the defense, especially if you're paired with a good quarterback or a quarterback that likes to push it downfield, that's going to work well with Troy Franklin. If he goes to the quarterback that doesn't care, that throws those YOLO balls, maybe like a Baker Mayfield even, that just wants to chuck it down there, it's going to be a good match for him because he excels at getting downfield. We got a good ADOT. His grades downfield look good. He looks good on tape. He wins off the release. A lot of good things with Troy Franklin. Looking at the draft capital per the mock draft database, he's going somewhere between the late first round, middle of the second round. And draft evaluators is trying to figure him out because when you watch him on tape, and if you're not really looking too hard, he could confuse you a little bit. But if you look for those finer nuances, you look for that release package, if those parts of the tape where he's attacking blind spots come at you, you're going to like him more than others. You definitely will. The thing about him is, for fantasy football purposes, I need him to go to a landing spot where I know the ball's getting pushed downfield. I'm saying that about a lot of wide receivers, but that's a huge part of his game. You see that in the PFF grades. You see that with his average at the target. It just makes a lot of sense. So if he lands to a quarterback that wants to push it downfield or loves to push it downfield, like say he gets drafted to the Bengals late first round, somewhere in the second round, says he falls a little bit, goes in the right situation, or the consensus spots to the Bills, say he even goes there. We're mocking a lot of teams to the Bills because we know they're looking at wide receiver and we know they can push the ball downfield. that could be a match made in heaven. Baker Mayfield pushes it downfield, either pushes it downfield or checks it off to a running back. That's what we've been seeing in the numbers over the course of time. He just needs to go to a team that has a quarterback that throws YOLO balls, because he excels at getting downfield. And it's not because he's an ADOT artist. He kind of is. He's nuanced, but he gets behind the defense with that release package, making him nasty. And then once he does that, that allows him to throw that changeup with the comeback routes, with the speed outs, maybe some drags over the middle, getting some opportunity there. But his ability to get downfield will aid in his fantasy production. And if you want the chef kiss with his fantasy profile, with his upside, we need a quarterback that can tap into that upside, that can push it downfield. That's what I think about Troy Franklin. Overall, if you watch the ranking videos, which you should, another one's coming out here soon, of these wide receivers, you know I like Troy Franklin, and you definitely know that if you've been paying attention to this channel. Let me know what you think about him in the comments below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.